today. So every day we start fresh because we can't affect the past, but we damn sure can make a difference today.
On today's episode of Shop Talk, we're discussing 803 of The Rookie, titled The Red Place. The episode had drama, action, tense moments, and there were also heartwarming scenes that we will recap after we share a couple quick news bites.
Yeah, so we do have the episode description for 804 titled Cut and Run. While out in the city, Nolan and Bailey witness a murder in public and immediately spring into action in the hopes of finding the person responsible. Meanwhile, Angela and Wesley have a big life decision that may affect their future. Cool. I'm loving all the Angela and Wesley stuff. Like last episode, we got a little like sexy moment between them, like sexy time, illusion, and then like even this episode, I'm like, please more of that. Like give me all the good Lopez stuff.
Yeah, it's been
So
good for
yeah,
them.
yeah. I mean for Chenford too. Like I'm loving this season so far for both of our main couples. So
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. And then there was a Deadline article that was posted about the Rookie North. There's more casting news for that, and Chris Sullivan from This Is Us will be uh, a character on that spinoff, and he will portray Sergeant Nix, a recently promoted watch commander whose heart still wants to be out on the street. So if the project does get picked up to be a series, that role will be a series regular. And so the Rookie North will be a like standalone pilot. It's not like tied into the Rookie,
Yeah.
even though I mean it's part of the Rookie universe. But yeah,
Yeah.
so it'll stand on its own if it gets picked up. So it'll be
Yeah.
cool. I'm curious to see if that'll happen since like things like went pretty quick with like feds and stuff.
Hmm.
Um, so like I don't know if the same thing will happen for that. Because I
Yeah.
mean like that's I mean like Chris Sullivan's a pretty big name because like everyone I know a lot of people like This Is Us. So
Yeah. I don't remember if Feds was already supposed to be a series and then they just did a backdoor pilot with the rookie. Like that's the only thing about it being a standalone is like you're not getting that tie-in with like the rookie,
mhm,
but because they're in Seattle or like it's set in
right.
Seattle, they can't really like portray that. I guess unless like Nyla has to like go and like track down a case or something. But yeah, I mean it
Mhm.
it does kind of have to be standalone. I'm interested to see Chris Sullivan in this mode though, because in This Is Us it was very emotional, like emotionally heavy. And
Yeah.
I mean he was part of the main cast. So like he wasn't like one of the kids, but he was part of like that group. So I'm curious to see how he's gonna be because I don't see him being like I don't see his character potential or like him portraying a character who's like a hard ass, but maybe. I mean he is in stuff now currently, so I don't know. I guess we'll see, but I'm excited.
Yeah. Yeah. Same.
So we'll just jump right into the episode because it was a good one. It was intense. I do like when the rookie goes to like kind of the darker side. Maybe not all the time, but I like it more. Like I would like to see more of it too. So we open the episode and Lucy is making breakfast for her and Tim. Domestic Chenford for the win. Like, come on.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Do we have any fake bacon, vegan bacon?" And he's like, "God, I hope not." And like Kojo just looks at him like, "I don't want that stuff." And so her reaction to like when he asks him is just so funny. And she's like, "What?" And he's like, I don't know. It would be in there if we did." And so we see Lucy's boxes are all over the place still, from the bedroom to the living room to the kitchen, like they're all over. And so she found it and he just seems annoyed and frustrated, like just kind of like short-tempered in a way. Um, and so he tells her that after work they should start unpacking her boxes. And she's like, she's slow moving with it. He wants to get the show on the road with it. She's like, yeah, but if we, take it too fast, like we might mess something up and have to go back. And I'm like, okay, I kind of get where she's coming from with that, but you're unpacking boxes. Like you're ideally putting your clothes in a drawer or, but he talks a little bit about his time in the army, which kind of wish we got more of that, but hey, I'm glad that we got that little tie-in. And he was like, if it's not unpacked in 48 hours, it's never going to be unpacked. I was used to like moving around, like, I can unpack pretty quickly. And he's like, if art sits on the floor past 2 days, it lives there now. And Lucy's like, well, they're well past that. How long have they been living together? Because she alludes to longer than 2 days, but like, I figured it had just been a couple of days.
Oh, I don't know if they actually like go by weeks like they
Yeah,
do on the show.
I don't
Like
know. I thought it was
in between
interesting.
episodes or not.
And Lucy's like, this is killing you, isn't it? And he's just like, he tells her what he thinks they should do, and then there's pause, and he just immediately apologizes for how that came off. And then that's where she's like, if we rush the process, we risk making a mistake and all that. And so that's where we kind of end with the Chenford domestic part for right now. And I'm just like, but I need more of this. Like, I need to see every little domestic thing with them. Like, I loved that she was making them like eggs and bacon. Um, so we go over and see John Nolan is bringing in Ezra Kane, who he just arrested. Find out he broke into a rec center to find a place to sleep because the shelters were full. So Nolan gets the mugshot taken and his fingerprints done. And Kane's like, "Am I going to jail?" And Nolan's like, "If anything, you'll be cited out in a few hours." So then like we go over to Angela, she's checking her calendar, and she is like, "Oh no, I messed up." And it's her and Wesley's anniversary, apparently. And I'm like, it is? We didn't even know that. We didn't know when they got married. So, it's fine, Angela. You forgot, and honestly, we never knew.
Yeah.
So Nyla's like, well, Wesley must have forgotten it too, because if he didn't say anything, and Angela's like, oh no, he remembers everything about us, which I mean, it's fair because, like, how could you not? They are the it couple. I mean, aside from Chenford, they are the it couple.
Mhm.
So Nyla gets an alert and calls Nolan over. And I love how she's just like immediately like not having it. She's like, Nolan, get over here. So she calls him over, and there was a triple homicide in Oregon 3 years ago. And it's connected to Ezra Kane. But like all that they had in the file was a fingerprint that didn't match anything in the system until Nolan got Kane's fingerprint. So we go over and see Wesley, Angela, Nyla, and Nolan all in the viewing room connected to the interrogation room. And they're looking at Kane on the other side. Nyla briefs them all on the working theory. And she's like, the parents were killed, and their 15-year-old daughter, Samantha, was likely dragged into the woods and killed there. They don't have anything, though, on Kane. His name could even be an alias. So I mean, what they had on him was just a little bit of cash and a bunch of credit cards under various names. So Nyla and Angela are like, okay, we're going to handle this by keeping Kane in the dark on the connection to the murders. He still thinks he's here for the trespassing charges, and it's in everyone's best interest that they just keep him in the dark. So Nolan's doing the interview using, as Nyla quotes it, his famous Nolan empathy to dig without seeming to dig. So they tell Nolan to go easy, but not too easy. And he's just like, he's that meme of looking at the chalkboard and all he's trying to compute is just like formulas. Cause he's like, okay, how am I supposed to do this? So Nolan enters the interrogation room and mentions the credit cards, and Kane starts covering for himself, saying, they were used for food, um and he's like, I just find them anywhere and all that. So no one that mentions his arrest falls into the wobbler category, which could be a misdemeanor, it could be a felony. And Nolan's like, I would like to recommend it as a misdemeanor, but I need you to be straight with me. And Nolan starts to talk about his default disorganization and why he's probably still on patrol. And so he starts going through everything with Nyla, like writing things down on the opposite end. Kane tells him that he doesn't know the first and second, which means his date of birth and social security card. He does not know those. And he's talking about his past, and he's like, I lost my parents in different ways, went through the foster system. And when asked what his birthday is, he's like, I think it's January 6th of 82, maybe 83. And I thought that was so interesting because that's when we had the premiere. So I was like, okay, did they just pick a random date or was that like supposed to
Oh,
mean something?
uh,
Yeah.
I didn't even catch that.
Yeah. So, it turns out he wasn't born in LA either. Kane puts the question though back on Nolan and he's like, I don't get a California vibe from you. Kane's from Idaho, and right away Angela makes the call. She's like, run Idaho records with his possible birth date, but and make the year range from 78 to 88. I thought it was interesting and it kind of caught me off guard both times how she was like, run it from 88 to 78. I was like, okay, maybe
Hmm.
that's just a cop thing. But like
Yeah,
for me, I would think 78 to 88. I don't know, it was weird.
yeah.
So Nolan asks when Kane moved to Southern California, and he's like, he takes it back to the credit cards, which Kane's like, I thought this was about the credit cards, and Nolan's like, oh, I'm getting to that. It's just establishing a hardship is, can go a long way with the DA. If anyone's going to drag this on and like make it seem non-suspicious, it's going to be John Nolan. Like they picked the right guy to have this happen with. Um, so Kane's just not used to people taking an interest and is not, he's like, it's not easy stuff to talk about. And Nolan's like, well, I mean, if you want to speed this up, I can just put you in for a felony and like you can go sit in your cell.
Mm,
And Kane's like, no, I'll work with you. I'm like, yeah, because he knows that what he did is even worse than the felony. So
yeah.
the sandwiches arrived. Nyla gets a call. They have the credit card records, and only two cards have recent activity on it. One at a motel, and the dollar amount suggests that he still has a room. So we see Lucy and Selena go check out the motel, and Selena's talking about the case, and Lucy's like not really into the conversation. Selena, sweet Selena, brings up that they both have some painful experience with psychopaths and like they've never really talked about it. Which yeah, I mean the traumas aren't exactly the same, but they are similar. And like I have to question, it's never been brought up between them. Like even with all of Selena's stuff that they covered within her first season, I'm like, really? But I guess like Dave Death and stuff happened before Selena was even there. So yeah, I mean I could see like Angela and Lucy talking about it, but yeah, why would Selena and Lucy have to talk about it? And Lucy's just like, I have no interest in revisiting that particular trauma. And like Lucy is very professional, keeps it just like, even like there's no emotion behind it, nothing. And Selena just was not reading the room at all. But like I get it, like you're curious and everything, but at the same time, like that's not the time or place. I mean, at all. So yeah, I mean that just it leads me to thinking like I was last week or a few weeks ago or whatever. Like when someone starts at Mid Wilshire, do you think they get a brief synopsis on everyone? Like what at least what they've went through while they've been there. Like, okay, Lucy may be triggered by kidnapping, cases because this happened to her in 2019 or whatever it was. Or like Nolan, took a shot and like that ended up killing, the this captain or whatever, and like we had lost an officer because of the Lafayette stuff. Like, I wonder if they get briefed on it, but then at the same time, like maybe not. Maybe it's just like through word of mouth. I don't know.
I don't know. I hadn't really given it any thought. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I don't know. Um,
Like even with the Chenford stuff, I wonder if like Miles was kind of briefed, like, okay, these two are kind of will they, won't they, or like anything like that. But then maybe not. Like maybe that's just me thinking that in the white space because they all know like it's all interconnected, but we've had these new characters come in and like they haven't been there for that. So, is there like a little gossip, chain on the side that talks about it? I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I guess Selena would have possibly known from the Rosalind stuff that happened on what like her third or second or third day. But like even if she knew about it then, she likely didn't know the whole history. And that was happening to Bailey and Nolan. That wasn't even Lucy. So, I don't know, I thought it was
okay.
interesting though, but that was just me like spiraling. So they arrive at room 216 where Kane is slash was staying. They end up finding Samantha in the bathroom. She, like Lucy gets her out of there. She is wheeled into the hospital, and Selena wants to call her parents and tell them that she's all right. Or no, she wants Selena to call her parents and tell them that she's all right, that she's been found. And Selena doesn't think, she just reacts and says she will. But then she goes back to Lucy and she's like, why did I do that? Like, I know that they're not alive. And Lucy's just like, don't beat yourself up. Like, Lucy was just kind of very like short with her responses in the way of like, I'm your sergeant. Like, I'm not necessarily a friend right now. Like, I am your sergeant. And I liked how she conducted herself with all of this too. It wasn't like, oh, like, you're doing such a great job, Selena. Like, she wasn't like trying to coddle her at all. Like, she was like, you're a P2 now. Like, I'm your sergeant. We're going to act like that on shift. Um, and so I liked how that happened. But I think also, I mean, Lucy, this case hit her hard. So she was also, kind of putting some guards up with that. So we go back to Nolan and Kane talks about how he's claustrophobic. And, because he's not eating the sandwich, he's just kind of like acting funny in the room. And so he was like, I spent a lot of nights as a kid locked up in small spaces. And in my mind, I'm like, that's not a small space and it's only you and Nolan. So he was just trying to deflect though. So Nyla has to pull Nolan out of the room for a minute and she tells him that, they found Samantha and he's like, great. So are you and Angela taking over the interview? And they're like, nope, not yet. There's still room for you to squeeze Kane before everything comes out into the open. So they want Nolan to turn up the heat, tell Kane that they found recent charges on the various cards, mention the hotel, but not like, they've gone there or even that they will and see what happens. So before Nolan leaves, he says to change this changes the profile. He's not just a murderer. And I was like, no, he's worse. So we see Nolan re-enter the room. He mentions the motel room. And immediately Kane starts defending it. He's like, that wasn't me. I wouldn't have been at the rec center if I had a place to sleep. Like, when were those charges? And Kane says that he wouldn't be recognized if, and no one obviously believes it. So we go back to Lucy and Selena's wondering why she didn't leave, why Samantha didn't leave when he left her alone there for 12 hours. And Lucy kind of like, goes into the psyche a little bit and she's like, well, it's the opposite of fight or flight. It's freeze and appease. And so Samantha sees them discussing things and starts getting out of bed, like, she's kind of over all of this. But sits back down when Lucy comes to ask some questions. And so Samantha asks about her parents again, and Lucy has to break the news to her that they're gone. Samantha, of course, doesn't want to believe it. And so she starts telling Lucy about the night that he took her. She was like, I felt something was off in the house. Like, the hair was standing up on the back of my neck. Like, things just weren't right. So she tells Lucy that she was taken to a cabin in the woods and kept there for 8 months. And when Lucy asks when they moved or why they moved, Samantha says that it was something to do with him not liking the cold. And so Samantha mentions the car that he bought after they got to LA, and all she remembers is that it was old, black, and four doors. And she's like, he didn't tell me where he was going. He just said he'd be gone for a while and he would punish me. And she was like, I'm actually kind of glad that like he didn't come back because, maybe it's over and everything like that. And then we cut to Tim getting to the motel. Do you want to take that away?
Yeah. So then we see Tim get into the motel. He finds there's these drawings in Ezra's room of the devil or like a devil figure, which backs up Samantha's claims that, Ezra had her call him Amon at times, and that he basically believes in the devil and that like he's a like minion for the devil.
Mhm.
Um, and in the interrogation room, Kane realizes that they're like getting closer to the truth about him, and he tells Nolan that he bought his everyman act, but he thinks that there are higher up cops who would want to talk to him. And so Nyla and Angela end up going in along with Wesley to talk to Ezra. And while they do that, Nolan steps out and actually goes back to the rec center with Tim. So we got a Brolin scene for a few minutes. And so like simultaneously they're searching the rec center to try to find and they find the keys to Ezra's car. And while they're doing that, Angela and Nyla are interrogating Ezra, asking him, if he's always been one of the devil's minions, and he doesn't budge on his, outlandish beliefs because he says it doesn't really matter as long as Samantha believes all of it. And he mentioned that today was the day that she was supposed to perish, and that the real reason that he went back to the rec center. And then it's like, as he's saying that, it's like kind of partially a voiceover because as he's saying that, Brolin finds an ID belonging to a different girl. And so Kane's taking another girl. He says that he's found another soulmate, and that ID belongs to a girl named Julie Reed. So now they have to find her. And so back at the station, Tim is giving everyone a rundown on Julie, and she goes back and forth between her parents' houses a lot, and that path goes by the rec center. So they assume that Ezra must have been watching her for a while before he took her, and they're all like throwing ideas around about why Ezra would have gone back to the rec center, and Nolan bets to get his makeshift wallet. And then they were, according to Wesley and Angela, he wouldn't want to, risk parking the car somewhere where people could just hear Julie if she screamed from the trunk. And he wouldn't want to draw attention to himself by walking too fast, according to Tim. So Nyla basically did the math, and they have about a square mile radius to cover to search for that car. And so Angela and Nyla go back into the interrogation room, and Kane's getting frustrated because Nolan told them before he left to crank the AC up, and that would agitate Kane, which it was working.
Yeah.
And so they asked him basically, what would you trade for us to find Julie? And he said that basically he would trade Julie's whereabouts if he could say goodbye to Samantha. And they were like, no, that's not going to happen. He kind of guilt tripped them in a way and was saying, well, how is she going to feel if she realizes that she could have saved Julie? And if Samantha talks to him for a minute, then, and if the red place is mentioned, then Ezra could tell them where Julie is. And so it cuts over. We see Selena going to get Lucy from Samantha's hospital room to tell her about Ezra taking Julie. And while they're talking outside, Samantha overhears them say the red place, which triggers her. And she ends up she barricaded the door with a chair, got a needle, started to stab her wrists. And since she had barricaded the door, Lucy used a stool to break the window and climb in to help Samantha while Selena called for medical attention. Yeah, and that whole scene was you could tell Lucy got emotional there, and Selena was, everyone was is very high emotions, understandably so. And so everyone's still searching for this black sedan. And Nolan, you see a couple of times where they strike out. And Nolan's at a parking garage, and he moves to the lower level of it, and he spots a couple of covered up cars. And the first one he tried didn't match the description, but the second one has what appears to be possibly blood dripping onto the floor. And then he ends up hearing Julie in the trunk. So he gets it open and he finds her. She's alive, albeit badly injured. And he helps her until the paramedics arrive and they take her to the hospital. And then it cuts to John telling Lucy that Julie made it through the surgery. They lost her on the table for a minute, but they got her back, and she's in the ICU now. And Samantha's also recovering from her injuries in another room, and like even asked, if she could see Julie when the time was right, and they were, like, sure, that's fine. Um, and so Lucy and Samantha end up talking for a bit. Lucy first asks her about the red place, and it was a red painted bathroom in a house that they stayed at, and Kane would put Samantha in there as punishment. And it was obviously a very like traumatizing place for her. Um, and obviously Samantha is still dealing with all of this aftermath, and Lucy can kind of see that, and so she tells her that the first step to you know making this better is to like stop blaming herself. And um she ends up telling Samantha about her rookie year, the day of death ordeal, when she
Mhm.
went on a date with Caleb, who kidnapped her, and she thought she was going to die. And she was telling Samantha that, she basically obsessed about all the things she could have, should have, would have done, but she didn't have any control over that. So she stopped focusing on what she didn't do and started looking at what she did do, which was survive. And, she was like, she survived, Samantha survived, she's here. And Lucy thinks that she's, really brave for that.
Yeah.
And so that was like a nice moment. Not that I like, I mean, I'm aware that the scene like needed to go on and like progressively like move on from that moment. But it was
Hmm.
just like so awkward. I was like, dang it, Nyla, like
Yeah.
interrupting. I mean, I was like, it's fine. I get it. I understand. But it was just like slightly awkward.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that was just me, but I kind of thought there like could have been like maybe like one more thing that they said like to kind of wrap that up
Yeah.
nicer or better. I don't know.
Yeah. I loved how
Um,
Nyla came in and like told her that, but I was like, okay, were we just trying to get Nyla in like one more scene? Because I don't
yeah,
know,
I
it
just
felt
didn't
like
really know.
displaced that it was Nyla coming in. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I liked that it was, Nyla was telling her, that all the female officers at Mid Wilshire will be, with Samantha until she feels safe.
Hmm.
I just didn't really know like why she had to come in like right then just to be like, first, let me tell you that
Yeah.
Sabanda's coming back from her trip tomorrow
Yeah.
to like come get you. And I'm like, okay, like that's good. I mean, I know she said sorry to interrupt. Um, I don't know. It was just something about it. It was just like just slightly the tiniest bit
Yeah. Yeah. It
awkward.
was almost like we needed something else, like there was something missing, but I don't know. It was, yeah, it was kind of oddly put in there, but I get why it had to happen for sure.
Yeah.
So,
Hmm. Yeah. And so we then see Angela's decorating the house for their anniversary, and Wesley really did forget it. And Angela emphasized that he forgot and she remembered before him, which is the important thing. And I'm like, if that's not every wife
yeah.
to their husband about like
Yeah.
anything, is like she remembered, you did not, like
Uh-huh.
she wins.
These two
And it's
like
like,
thrive off competition with each other too. Like I don't
yeah,
it's such a
they
weird
do.
dynamic with them, but like it works and I'm not hating it, but it's just like
Yeah.
they just have to be competitive with each other.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. And like my favorite moment of this whole entire scene, I don't even know, it's the like simplest thing, but literally Sean
yeah.
pulling down the balloon, like I mean, as Wesley, that read, congrats, grad. And then he just let it go in the same like breath almost. It was just like so funny.
Yeah.
Because like the look on his face was just like, yeah, right. Like,
Hmm.
he,
Like explain this, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and she told him that she was, busy putting all this together, like, gesturing to the balloons and the streamers and the decorations. Um, and she kind of like that segues into like, what's also important is that her parents have the kids for the night so they can, spend some more time
Hmm.
together. So, like, yay for them
Yeah.
to have that. And so we get that moment, and then um next moment is Chenford, so that's good too. Because we have Lucy coming home and she's greeted by Kojo and Tim. And Tim got Italian food and it's like warming up in the oven. And Lucy said that she wants the house to feel like a refuge, not like a UPS storage facility. So yeah, the boxes got to go. And she basically thought that, like she could eat and she could supervise the removal of the boxes. So
Hmm.
basically, you know, Tim's like, okay, I'll go get dinner. And so he does that, and then it's obviously implied that he'll be doing most of the moving
Yeah.
of the boxes, which is fine. Um,
I mean, it is what Tim wants. Like he wants to
I
get the
mean, yeah.
boxes gone. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, I thought it was really sweet how like she was just like, yeah, you can do that. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm tired. Which she did have a long day. Like
she really did.
presumably so did he, but like
Right.
we only saw him for like a couple of scenes.
Hmm.
But we're
Yeah.
literally two for two with the episode so far of ending
Hmm.
with Lucy and Tim and then ending
Yeah.
with Lopez. Like
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
it's pretty early to say this, but I hope that the rest of the season is like that and that they're all
Yeah.
good moments. Like,
Well, and like we've already had more Kojo appearances
mhm.
like in these two episodes alone than we've had in the past like I don't even know like four
Few
years.
seasons. Yeah.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so the I mean I feel like they almost could have ended it there, but this like next scene was like kind of nice though because it showed
Yeah.
like Nolan and Gray's dynamic. And so like the last scene we see John's watching Ezra go off in cuffs and he doesn't really like how things ended up going today and Gray told him, they can't change what's already happened, but they can stop it from happening again, which is what John did. So someone should buy him a drink. And
Hmm.
Gray is offering to do that, so no one accepts, and it's like implied that they start to walk off and go do that. And I was like, wow, the growth because pilot episode Gray wanted wanted Nolan gone.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I just thought that was nice for them
Did
to have
you
that.
did you feel like there was a void missing with Gray not being there?
I mean, kind of. Um,
Hmm.
I like. I mean, I like that he was like a part of the group scene, like when they were going over things, and like Tim was
Hmm.
leading that sort of strategy meeting. I will say I do miss the like be safe out there
Yeah.
ending of the roll call meetings, which I know didn't happen every episode anyway.
Yeah.
I had just grown so accustomed to it that
Hmm.
like I am finding myself missing that.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I'm assuming since we'll like keep seeing Garza, well, it's implied that we'll keep seeing Garza since he's been in
Hmm.
behind the scenes things, that then we'll see more
Yeah.
of Gray that way. So,
Yeah, I mean, it definitely felt like to me this episode. I mean, even with Tim, it was like, okay, are we just not going to see Tim except for being at home? Which, like, we were at least still seeing him. But then when we saw that clip of Gray, I was like, oh, good, like he's still around. Not that like I didn't think he wasn't around. Like I knew he was, but I was just kind of like, okay, we have most of the team back together now. Like,
mhm,
I don't know. I guess because other shows have been more accustomed to doing that like over the years of like someone's always missing in an episode like it feels normal for those shows but like with the rookie because we're still so new with that with Gray it's like but we're
right.
missing so
Yeah,
Lieutenant Gray like we're missing him he's a big part
yeah,
of the team
yeah.
so yeah so it
Well,
felt
especially
weird
since
but
like other shows like have, like budgetary reasons for like
hmm
doing that with actors or characters and reduction
yeah
of screen time. It's like the rookie didn't put anything out about anything like
yeah
that. So it was like, okay, I don't know. I also miss like Richard's delivery of like certain one-liners too.
hmm
Like I miss kind of
yeah
that like funny. I mean, obviously that wouldn't have gone like great in this particular episode,
yeah
but I miss that
yeah
more too.
yeah
So.
Yeah, it was a good episode though. Like I like how they go the dark twisty route sometimes. Like they make an effort to not do it all the time, obviously. Like it balances out really well, but I'm just kind of like, okay, can we have a little bit more of it? Like not too much, just a little bit because the rookie is known for being, comedic and, it's a dramedy. Like people, that's why people like it so much. But I'm just like, yeah, can we like get back to do some dark moments? Just because, I mean, everyone knows that their jobs aren't easy, so and they come across dark. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah. I will say that the actress that played Samantha like really like brought it home, I think,
Yeah.
in like terms of like the emotional impact the
Hmm.
episode had. Because like I remember I'm thinking back to goodness, I don't know what the heck's wrong with my voice. Um, I'm thinking back to the promo and it was like the twistiest rookie
Uh-huh.
ever or something. Which like it was, but not in the way that I was expecting
Yeah.
because the way they made it sound, it was like I was like, what's worse than a murderer? Like I don't
Uh-huh.
know. Um which I mean in terms of like what am I trying to say? Like psychological manipulation, yeah, keeping someone for that long is worse.
Hmm.
Um but like yeah, like I said, it just like wasn't what I was expecting exactly.
Yeah.
Um but then again, I also wasn't expecting to see
Hmm.
Seth back in the episode either.
Yeah.
So, um,
I'm surprised they spoiled that. Well, not
yeah,
spoiled it. They put out the sneak peek. I'm surprised that they put that out.
yeah,
Like I was not expecting that. So,
no, yeah.
and for that to be technically the first scene of the episode.
Hmm.
Because is it just me or have they not been doing cold opens? Like the
I
funny
mean, not
cold
in the same
opens?
way. Yeah.
No. I wonder if like they're getting away from that or if it's just the first few episodes, like there's so much to cover that they're like, we're gonna use this cold open to like, you know, we're gonna
Hmm.
take that away and like just, start the episode off. I don't
Yeah.
know. I've noticed that though. I'm like, where's the funny cold opens? But then I'm like, wait, have they not done funny cold opens for the last few seasons and I'm just now catching on?
Um, I mean, they've done some,
Not
not
a
like
ton,
quite as
right?
many, like
Yeah.
not like classically funny in the sense of like mayhem happening and
Uh-huh.
like, some,
Like the bees in the car or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, or like glitter getting, thrown around, like not
Yeah.
like that. Um, like, but like they have like, Raj singing the one song
Yeah.
or whatever, and Nolan being like the memeable, like
Yeah.
angry face.
Yeah.
The one last season. But yeah, I just don't think like outright funny.
No.
Just like more subtle.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so we did have Miles and Seth reunite. And obviously we saw in the sneak peek, like Miles goes to visit Seth and brings breakfast burritos as kind of an olive branch to break the ice. And Seth does let him in and they talk. Um, well, Miles tries to be a good friend and tells Seth that, like, it'll be okay. He'll be able to get back to his life, like if he, starts by cleaning some things up, like that could help a lot. And Seth's like, no, it's okay. I'm good. You're not my mom. And like he was getting more frustrated with Miles because he was saying that he, doesn't get it. Like Miles's football injury that ended his potential pro football career is not the same thing as Seth's leg getting blown off in gunfire. And that's what Seth tells Miles basically. And so Miles tries again, saying that he'll, listen more instead of talk, and the two seem to get back on track. Um, that is until the next thing we see. Seth is basically playing the blame game and being playing victim, wondering why people, don't take his calls or talk to him, and even his own dad after he, apologized, which caused Miles to kind of lose his cool and tell him that, he hasn't changed at all because it takes more than just one apology for people to forgive him because he literally lied about everything, every single thing,
And
ever.
not just like to work people, it was to
Right.
everyone in his life, like even his dad.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
okay, it was one thing when he was lying to coworkers and like about the job and stuff, but like to even find out that he was lying in his personal life too, like there's something like wrong with Seth, I feel like there's just I mean, how can you do that and then want to play the victim after and be like, no, everyone should forgive me. What do you mean?
Right. Yeah.
Like, yeah, there's some serious therapy that needs to go on.
Yeah. Well, and it was funny because like Miles originally came over because he was like, I hear you're missing physical therapy. And I'm like, how about we get something from
Yeah.
here from his
Yeah.
brain, please? Because obviously being a compulsive liar is a symptom of something. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
not. It could just be, I mean, he could just be a compulsive liar for,
Right.
attention seeking reasons, but like that never
Yeah.
was like completely
Right.
established as to why he was doing that
Yeah.
so
Yeah,
much.
we didn't know anything about him. Like that this was the first time that we ever heard that his dad was still around. Like
Yeah,
we never heard anything about him. So, and I wonder some of that was definitely by omission just because of how Seth was going to go out, but like
right.
now it's kind of like we're missing everything about this guy and we're not supposed to like him, obviously,
Mhm.
but at the same time, like, are we supposed to feel a little bad for him because we don't know anything? I don't think we are supposed to feel bad, but
Right.
I saw someone say
Yeah.
like, is Seth gonna be the new villain? Because like it's kind of teeing up to be like that. I'm like, in what way
Oh
though?
Lord, I hope not.
I don't know how he could be.
I don't know, unless he still plans to go through with the lawsuit or whatever the hell he was planning. But like,
Maybe. Yeah.
I don't know. That seems just like so like not worth it.
I mean, looking at like his living conditions, not that they were bad, but it was like he obviously is just like down on his luck, depressed, all that.
Right.
Like, I don't know if he has the means to do all of that, to like get a lawyer and like fight that because it's not going to be an easy fight. I mean, you're going up against the LAPD. So
Yeah.
I was interested to see him back.
Mhm.
And I was also wondering why it was in the third episode with the storyline.
Yeah.
Like,
It was
I could kind of tell after the fact of watching it. It was like, okay, well, Seth was dealing with some, mental health issues. Ezra Kane kind of was too, and whatever, why he did what he did. And then Samantha also was, right? Because she had been kept away for so long and lied to and all that, emotionally manipulated. So it all kind of like tied back to one another, but it was like, for as little Seth and Miles stuff we got, I feel like we could have just put it into another episode. I don't know.
yeah. Mhm.
But
Yeah.
it was good though,
It's
regardless.
yeah. It was not the like blast from the past that I was expecting.
No.
Um, but I mean it was cool that like he was featured in the whole episode pretty much. I mean like a few scenes, yeah, but like
Mhm.
it, rounded out the episode. So yeah, it was just cool to see. Um, it was cool to see him back. The like hair and appearance like threw me
Uh-huh.
though. It was it wasn't clean cut anymore. So like
Yeah.
that was kind of I mean I know probably purposeful.
Yeah.
But that was like that threw me for a second. I was like, well,
Yeah. I love that they
um,
kept it under wraps. Like we've seen
yeah,
True on set. We know that he's coming back. We had absolutely no idea about, Patrick. And like I love that they kept it so under wraps just
yeah,
because I mean Patrick was the last one to like come and go off the show. So,
yeah,
it could have easily been. I mean, aside from like last week or whenever some of the TV line articles came out, they were asking about Seth. I thought maybe a few episodes from now. Like I didn't think literally the next episode, so it was cool.
no, yeah,
But
yeah. But anyway, so we do eventually see them reconcile and Seth stops by Miles' new apartment that he shares with Selena, and when she opens the door, she's like announces, Seth's here, and then walks her right back to her room, closing the door. She's like, yeah, if you need me, I'll be in here, but basically don't need me.
yeah.
Is basically the vibe she gave off. Um, and so the two of them talk and they, basically decide to kind of give, their friendship another go. And Miles is basically going to help Seth on his forgiveness tour, for lack of a better term. And they even, do like their like handshake and they hug it out. And um So, it's like a nice uh full circle moment from where they started. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I want to know what Miles was doing this like shift, for lack of a better word, because he must have
Yeah.
had it off because he wasn't helping anyone with all of this
Mhm.
like Ezra Kane, Samantha stuff. So what was he doing? Like he had to
Yeah.
have had it off, and that's why he went and saw Seth. Because I would
Hmm.
assume Seth doesn't live like in the heart of LA. Like he probably lives, a county over or whatever. So,
Hmm.
but I don't know. It was interesting.
Yeah.
I am curious to know if we're going to see more of Patrick.
Yeah.
Because it seems like by following his Instagram and stuff, it seems like he's got a lot going on, but I'm like, well, he's not recurring anymore in The Rookie. Like he's just guest starring, or he guest starred for this part. So maybe they wouldn't need him like, weeks on end, but who knows? So I'm curious to see
Hmm.
how much more we're gonna see though, because if Miles is helping him, are we gonna see him every few episodes? Is it just another episode and then they're done? Or like what's
Yeah.
gonna happen? So
Hmm.
I'm glad that Miles is gonna help him though. I mean,
Hmm.
it seems like when we left off, Miles was obviously pissed, but like could
Yeah.
be the only one that was gonna give him the benefit of the doubt. So, and that makes
Hmm.
sense because they were in their rookie period together. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, But anywho, you guys can find us on Twitter at the Shop Talk Pod underscore or email us at shoptalktherookiepodcast@gmail.com with all of your thoughts. You can find us individually on Twitter as well. I'm at jstark804.
And I'm at Kari Hyman.
And we're on TikTok as well at the Shop Talk Podcast underscore. We also have merch at shop-talk.dashery.com. So be sure to check that out. And we'll be back next week with our new schedule. Following 804 on Monday, we're dropping a new episode on Wednesday, the 28th. So you'll hear from us a day earlier. And that'll be moving forward through the end of season 8. So that'll be exciting.
Yep.
But yeah, until then, bye everyone.
Bye, guys.
Go get him, boo.